Welcome everyone to the Dungeons of Aether stream. SBS and Matt here, and we're gonna be playing through Dungeons of Aether as well as answering some community questions and talking about the game.
I'll be collecting questions, so if you have any questions about the game or curiosities, let me know in the chat. I'll try to answer them the best I can. SBS will be playing. We'll be playing through the demo, which is available on Steam Next Fest right now. So go to the Steam store, look for us, and you should be able to start playing as well.
The fallen and their treasures were buried deep beneath what is now.
Yeah, so I figure we'll get started after this neat little cinematic it's playing.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
To find wealth and excitement. I fear they'll find a terrible darkness as well.
So yeah, for those that are not in the know, Dungeons of Aether, roguelike, dungeon crawler, turn-based strategy game, and we're gonna hop in right now.
Yes, this is our protagonist, Fleet. She's the main character of Dungeons. She sees herself as the vigilante hero of Jules Vale, trying to fight off all the evildoers and save the town from any bad deeds that might be committed. So she's our big heart character that we're very happy to see lead the charge of the protagonists that we have lined up in the game. There are going to be four playable characters: Fleet, Slade, Hamir, and Artemis. And yeah, we'll see Fleet's intro here in the tutorial. So the tutorial is part of Story Mode, which is one of two modes that are going to be at launch on Dungeons of Aether. Story Mode is 6 chapters and can go from anywhere to 6 hours to 12 hours, depending on the player. We've had many playtests where the variety in time varies greatly. So if you're pretty good at these types of games, it should take you around 6 hours, but we've seen people go 12 hours or longer, very upset when I tell them it should take them 6 and it doesn't.
Yeah, it's as hard as you make it on yourself sometimes. I know I played a version of it all the way back in August, and with note-taking and surveys and stuff, it was like about 10 hours for me. And that was like, back in August, and the game is completely evolved since then. I've been playing through it again. It's like, oh, there's so much stuff in it now that wasn't there before. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we had a pretty major shift in the game a little over halfway through development, where we kind of doubled down on story mode, made it a lot more diverse and had much more variety between each of the characters, which we believe has made it way more interesting and fun for the hours that you'll be playing in story mode, and actually have the knock-on effect of making challenge mode really interesting as well, because the characters are so much different from each other than they were previously.
Yeah, one thing that I'm really a big fan of, like, that has come out in recent builds and in this demo as well, as just like, look at Fleet's face here. There's so much expression that has been added to the character since the last time I played the game, which, I mean, the art in this game is pretty fantastic.
It's been designed for a while to add these expressions or portraits that are now implemented in the game and are ready to go. But yes, it took took some time to get them in. So the dialogue kind of fell flat when the characters just in their default face. Yeah.
It's like, well, I think she's angry, or I think she's happy, but she's flat faced.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely not the case anymore, as you can see.
Very expressive, which we're very happy to see.
So yeah, this demo is going to be playing through as Fleet. It's the one that you can download right now on the Steam store. But yeah, Artemis, Slade, and Hamir will be playable in the actual game. I don't know what we're planning on doing for Wednesday. Is there going to be any sort of like gameplay for the other characters on Wednesday?
So we'll see here in the other characters, maybe. We're figuring out right now, we could either do another mission for Fleet or we can do the first Slade mission. If Chad is more interested in Slade, let us know. So the Slade one, it's going to be kind of just the first quest, so it'll be pretty simple, but you get to see a new biome and see Slade's attacks and abilities, whereas the Fleet chapter that we were thinking about doing, Fleet would be going up against a boss. So would you rather see Fleet take down a boss, or would you rather see Slade go through his first mission?
Oh, those are both good options. I know what I would want, but I'm not going to answer for chat. But looks like we're about to get into the first little fight of the demo, where she's going to kind of break down her attack, defense, accuracy, and speed stats. Everything that you have on your character is on the left side, and the opponent has the similar stats on the right side, unique to the enemy. And yeah, she's explaining it right now, but basically when your attack is higher than your opponent's defense, you have the ability to do damage should you choose an ability that does damage. And vice versa. If your defense is equal to or higher than your opponent's attack, then they are not going to hit you with anything, which is pretty nice. Yeah, so let's see what we can do here. We have abilities on the bottom left and the enemy abilities on the bottom right. As you can see right now, I only have 2 of them at the beginning of this demo. Strike, which deals 1 damage on connect. That is if my 2 is greater than the opponent's 1. And then I have Guard, which will give me 3 defense dice on the next turn, which we can get into the defense dice and all that when they pop up. The opponent has the same strike, and it actually has something different, a taunt, which will get rid of a couple accuracy for me, which we can get into as we move on as well.
So the big shift that I mentioned earlier, that was to add abilities like those to, we call them techs in the design document. What that allows is more stat manipulation to either set up or prevent an attack in the current turn. Just gives the game just a lot more intrigue, big brain thinking of how you can manipulate the situation to either take advantage of it in the short term or save it for the long term. So big change, but definitely a change that led to better gameplay overall.
Oh yeah, you'll see as the demo progresses, we're gonna get more and more on the bottom left here, and they are all pretty unique and have varying reasons to use them, but they're all as you get more accuracy, as you get more abilities, they all are very special attack moves and buffs that you can use. So both enemies have hearts on their side, where if you are to strike them with 1 damage, they will just lose a single heart. It's pretty simple, no varying attack for each one. It says deal 1 damage or deal 2 damage, and I don't think we have anything that deals 3, do we?
Yes. It takes. Hamir has an ability that if you've got just all the things working for you, you can one-shot enemies, and it's really fun. Huge Quake ability. But that's being tested now, so we might pull that back. But
yeah,
he basically loses all of his stamina and lays a huge blow, which is really fun.
Okay, cool. Alright, yeah, and so now she's explaining the accuracy, which is your green number there. If you only have 1 accuracy, the only ability that you have is going to be the first in the queue, and then as you get more accuracy, the second, third, fourth, etc. will become available. And then speed is pretty obvious. The most speed, whoever has the most speed is the first attacker. A lot of games, you'll either have I know Slay the Spires, you're always the first attacker. Monster Train, you always get attacked first. But in this game, you are dictated by your speed stat, which is something that you can get through dice, and then also through your own stamina. But if you are tied or greater than your enemy on speed, then you will be going first. And I think there is an enemy or 2 that if they tie, they actually go first. But in general, the good rule is if you're tied or greater, then you are attacking first. Which could also be a big deal if you do some damage, but you don't have much defense. You might be able to kill the enemy before you get hit yourself.
Yeah, something that was very hard to balance around was giving the player a lot of advantages in the system. they draft first. If the speed stat is equal, if both speeds are equal, you attack first. So these inherent advantages have led us to give the enemies a little extra punch and fun things. So we've introduced things like traps, and later you'll see stamina manipulation, real-time stamina manipulation, which makes the enemies a lot more challenging.
Yes, and speaking of draft, we are actually going to go into our first draft here. Each dice color matches its stat color. So basically we're going to have this 6 that is a 6 attack die, and I get to pick first here because I am the protagonist, and we get to cheat a little bit. So I'm going to take the 6, and the attack dummy over there is going to have to pick something else. It looks like he takes the 2, so not only is my attack now 8 to his 1, so greater than, but his attack is greater than my 2 defense. So we're going to have to do something about that. So what Fleet just said is we can take anything that's greater than a 1 and put it on any other one of these guys here to give it a +1. So if it's on the attack for the red dice, it gives me +6. But if it's on the accuracy or the speed, or in this case we're going to do it for the defense, it's only going to give me a +1, which can be pretty helpful. And she'll also note here that if you grab a 1, kind of on the opposite end, you can't put it on a different stat. So if I grab a blue 1 or a green 1, it has to go on speed or accuracy. So it's just kind of being smart with your picks and making sure you prioritize the right ones against your opponent.
Oh yeah. And what you'll see is often if you can't make everything work, you'll move a lot of your die, even though they're not defensive die, into your defense, so you can set yourself up better for another turn. But if you do it too long, enemies might have great techs that they can leverage against you in later fights or later rounds.
And so on this draft, I like to prioritize, first thing I like to prioritize attack and defense. But in something like this, especially if the opponent has, low health, getting that speed to go first is the most important thing, because even if that enemy does damage to me, if I attack first, he's not going to be able to do that. So even if I were to move my 6 up and leave myself vulnerable, I could strike first and kill this test dummy here. So it's not only the 6-sided die that can be played on different stats, it's anything that's not a 1 can actually be placed on different stats, and that'll give you a +1. And so we got our loot there, we got a peach and some gold, and Ayala is pretty happy with our performance.
So we had a question in the chat: what happens with a speed tie? It favors the player, the protagonist. So in the event that Fleet had the same speed as the target dummy, Fleet would attack first, which is very advantageous, as some moves allow you to gain defense if you connect, is what we're calling it, if you land a hit. So there's a lot of advantages from why you can connect into to just discard die from the opponent. So they might have the attack needed to break your defense, but if you go first, land to connect, you can discard one of their attack die and ideally prevent them from landing a hit on you. So
Right.
Lots of dice manipulation, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and one thing that you mentioned is that, the tie is always going to be the protagonist. There's going to be other protagonists that, have different powers than Fleet. Like one of the characters, for example, actually uses speed quite a bit in how they operate. And so, even though speed may be, you just want to tie as Fleet just to get ahead of the game, other characters, you might want to make sure that you have a ton of speed just to make sure that you are using the power correctly. So there's a lot of variety that you're going to see as you see more characters as well. And even some enemies, I believe there was one enemy, I don't know if it's still that way, but there was one enemy that they actually win on a tie for speed.
There is the Dungeons Dragonfly, or not the Dungeons, the Deposits Dragonfly, which
Yes.
is Hamir's level. Highly, or is it uses speed, but what it does is if it goes first, you can't hit it.
That's what it
So,
is. Okay.
Yeah, it's it's a little frustrating to play against. So once you get it, he's a two health enemy, so it doesn't take much to take him down. But the players will be surprised if they're not reading the passives that the enemies have. That they'll wonder why their attack didn't land. We have a question about Steam Deck. Does the game work with Steam Deck? So far, it does. We have tested on Steam Deck. Works fine. No issues. It's not one of our, primary platforms in the sense that we've got everyone testing it. But and the few people on the team that do have Steam Decks, they've tried it, and it does work. We have not been verified at this moment, I believe.
Okay, yeah. I actually have a Steam Deck as well, so feel free to make me do anything you'd like with that.
Yeah.
But Fleet's a little tired now, so we're going to go ahead and move on into the town and get some rest at the inn. So this is Jules Vale. And right now we can only visit one of these buildings, but throughout your adventure you'll be able to visit all of them. And we're going to hop on into the inn. If you want to explain
So
a little
this is
bit
where you come after each of your dungeon crawls to resupply, restock, refresh, prepare for the adventure that awaits. Usually you first thing you do is you dump all of your loot into the merchant and get all the gold that you'll need to get better upgrades.
So yeah, we're going to spend 10 gold and gain some 3 stamina, which we haven't gone over yet in this demo, but we're about to. So yeah, Fleet's talking about nothing like some rest to get some extra stamina. You'll actually find little bits of little buildings on your travels to get rest as well and earn stamina back. And you may have noticed that when I picked up the peach, one thing you get from that is stamina as well. So we're about to see that come into play here.
Cool. Before we dive into the dungeon, I've got a couple of questions that I would like to answer from the chat. People are asking if Ian wrote the script. Yes, Ian wrote the script in collaboration with Dan and the team. Some people on the team have been instrumental in finding typos and clarifications. We had a couple of plot holes that we cleared up, but Ian definitely led the charge and wrote the overall plot and dialogue with all the characters, and we've massaged that for 2 years now, but very happy with the work that Ian did. Someone asked if there's going to be a soundtrack. I don't know. I don't think it will be at launch. If people enjoy the music and want, please let us know if you'd be interested in a soundtrack. But of course, the game is fully musiced up and has plenty of sound effects, so we're very happy with how it's sounding right now. And then finally, does there game controller support? Yes. Works. I use my Xbox controller to play gamepad. Works great. We've had some issues with PlayStation controllers from our testing that we're resolving, but generally most controllers should work fine. Fully supported for controllers.
Awesome. All right, with that, let's hop on into this dungeon.
Fleet being a little over-eager, quick to make friends, quick to jump into the fray. Ayala, a little more jaded, has seen this before in the past, takes things a little slower, and wants to make sure that they're not running into a big surprise when they go down to the dungeon.
Yeah, and Ayala is talking about how she was fired by Badger Co., and she's a little concerned that they may be using her creations for nefarious deeds, and maybe modifying them in ways that might be a little dangerous to the average person. So we're gonna go see if we can stop them.
So we're looking for blueprints to the big driller so that Badger Co. cannot make more of these big drillers. Glad Chad is enjoying the character design. Would you like to see these characters in other Aether Studios games? Hint, hint. Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, Ayala's already in Rivals. You get her as a milestone
Right.
thing with Eliana. So there you go. That's all the characters in all the games. All right.
Hammer Man. I like it.
You know, Hamir sounds a lot like Hammer.
You know, I think you're onto something.
Alright, let's hop on down into the mine shaft. We've got to go retrieve Ayala's blueprints from Badger Co. in the mines. So, the camera controls are pretty cool. I can right-click to drag it around. Or I can hit Tab and actually unlock and move the camera just kind of fluidly. Also, I can just left-click and hop on into the next room. So you'll see me kind of moving around, seeing if I can, you know, get a glimpse of what's to come, and then eventually hop on into battles, like right here.
So this is our weasel enemy, the Rattata, if you're Pokemon fans. The classic, low-statted mugger that's easy to beat up on, but will surprise you if you're not careful.
Right, and then one thing you'll notice that this character actually has an extra ability compared to the dummy we just fought. If they have enough accuracy, they can actually do a steal, that if they do damage to me, they can also steal 5 gold from me, which you'll learn is pretty important to have gold throughout the game. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can take away the biggest defense die that I can, because the attack die in this draft are not that big, and my goal is to, one, obviously not get hit, but more importantly is to do the damage to the opponent. So I'm going to take the biggest one that can actually be used by the opponent, and they're going to do the same. So unfortunately, I actually can't do anything in terms of attacking the enemy, but I can do something with my techniques on the bottom left and maybe give myself a little bit of a buff here. So what I'm going to use here is you can see that this won't connect on my strike, but on my guard I can make sure that next turn I'm going to be even more ready for an attack. So I'll get a +3 defense die next turn.
Nice. And so, yeah, you see SBS gained a defense die from using that tech. Now with that, you can leverage this turn to make sure he's defended, maybe even lay in an attack.
Yeah, and unfortunately this second draft has given me a lot more defense dice and really not a lot of attack. So I'm going to take away the biggest one, but it's really not going to be any use. So let's see if we can do something here. I still don't have enough attack, but I have some extra dice and some stamina I might be able to use to land a hit here.
And a reminder, everyone, you can play this demo right now on Steam Next Fest.
Alright, so stamina, as you can see right here, is I have 3 of it and the enemy has 2. I got that 3 from sleeping at the inn, and I can use it to add to any of my stats as I see fit. So I'm going to go ahead and use the plus sign right here just to add 1 to it. I could add it to other ones as well, but I want to do some damage here, so I'm going to do all 3 to my attack. And as you can tell, Fleet's pretty angry. It's not enough yet. And I still have a peach, though, that I won from the last battle, and this actually is going to give me 2 more stamina as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add this 2 stamina, and it's not quite ready to do any damage, but as you could recall from the previous fight, I can actually take the 6 and the 3 to give me +1 on the attack each to actually connect with my enemy. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to just hit the strike button. And right there, boom, I have done the damage. And now on this next one, the defense dice are looking a little rough, so I'm going to take the biggest attack die I can, and hopefully I'll be fast enough to stop my enemy here. And luckily, my speed is faster than my enemy, even though they're going to do damage to me if they attack me, so I don't really have to worry too much, right? As long as I can get the kill. And that's where the enemy stamina comes into play.
So the enemy stamina, when it's on basic enemies like this, it's pretty easy to work around. They'll dump all of their, or some of their stamina into stat pools to get an advantage, whether that's to increase their defense to block you, or attack to attack you, speed, accuracy, all of that. But these are stagnant. So if you are in these situations, you can use an item to give yourself an extra boost, or use your stamina to fill in the gap that the enemy just created. But later in the game, enemies will have dynamic stamina, which allows them to manipulate in real time as you change. So you might load up your attack, then they can add more to their defense, and then you take the, you move your dice around, lower your attack so you can do something else. They'll adjust and maybe try to land a hit on you. So
yeah,
it's very challenging later in the game. But for now, enemies kind of have a easy set to work around. But in this scenario, you don't have enough resources, so you're gonna look like you're gonna get hit, SBS.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am gonna get hit. I have 3 health overall, and it's gonna carry out through the dungeon. And while I do kill my enemy, I am taking a hit. But one of the cool things that we just unlocked here is on that bottom left, how we only had strike and guard. Now we've unlocked a new attack, which is going to be the 3rd slot in our accuracy pool. So we have this one called React, which if you connect, so if you actually do the damage, you will now instantly gain 3 defense. So if I had that, well, it wouldn't have mattered because she was faster than me. But if I had the speed and had that, I would have actually got my defense up to snuff there.
Cool. Got a couple of questions from chat. Why wasn't Fleet able to attack if she had enough accuracy? It has something to do with the attack tie in turn 1. So right there, accuracy only enables more attacks to be used, whereas what lands a hit or not is speed, attack, and defense. Your attack has to be above their defense, and then speed determines who goes first. Another question is Dungeons now live? Dungeons Demo is now live on Steam Next Fest and will be for until February 13th, so please get your hands on it now and wishlist the game. But we will go live February 28th, so just right around the corner. And then finally, which of the 4 protagonists has the best tail? Ooh, that's the toughest question of the day. I think Slade has the best tail because he actually uses it to swim around the underground oasis. But you could say that Hamir has the best tail. I guess it's sturdier. Artemis can regenerate her tail, so that's pretty cool. And then Fleet probably has the cutest tail, being the fluffy one. Do you have a favorite tail, SBS?
I like the ability to regrow it. Damaged in battle, don't worry about it. Get that tail back. Gotta love the lizards.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, being a dungeon crawler, we're gonna open a chest.
Yeah, occasionally on your journey, you're gonna find treasure chests throughout the area, and you're gonna see that this treasure chest doesn't have any attack options, but it actually has 4 different locks with numbers attached to them. Basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna be doing your own draft just on your own, and as soon as you grab one of the dice, it's going to permanently lock it into your side. And anything you don't like, you can leave down on the bottom draft and hit the reroll button to get them to get it another shot, basically.
So this is our dungeon dice rolling way of lock picking, or picking a lock. So you've got your dice set that you can use to move into different stat values to unlock those chambers. So we've got some good attack die and a good defense die. But then you have a reroll option there, and with the reroll, you get 3 rerolls, and so you have to determine if you're statistically more likely to get the die you're after as you're trying to open this chest. It's it's a gamble because it could be any die that you can roll. But what you can do in case you strike out is use your stamina to unlock other chambers, or use items to help you get over the hump if you can't open a chest.
Right, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, this 5 is, you're not going to get much better than a 5 on attack, right? And that's going to get me to 6 using the one that I already had as my base stat. and I need to get to 8. And so normally I'd probably re-roll this 2, but since I only need 2 more on the attack, I'm just going to take it right off the bat, and boom, there's 1 lock. If I move it though, it goes back to locked, right? So you can't really cheese the game a little bit to unlock and move on. I'm looking more at these, and a clear choice here is this 4 plus the 2 is going to give me above the 4 for the defense. And normally this 1 would not be great, but my base stat for my accuracy is actually 2, and I only need 3. So now I can't put this die onto anything but the defense, so there's no reason for me to grab that, and I can't put this one on anything except for the offense, so there's no reason for me to grab that. So I'm going to use my first reroll, which doesn't just reroll the dice, but it also changes the color sometimes too.
See if we can get a blue, and we do.
Yeah, and so now I have 3 and 3, which is going to give me 6. And since the green die is now greater than 1, I can put it on a different thing. So if I go ahead and put it onto the speed area, I'm actually going to get a +1 and open the last lock.
Nice. It takes some getting used to, but all the different combinations you can do with different stat die is pretty fun, because it opens up a lot of opportunities of what you can do in a single turn.
Yes, and I unlocked a new ability, which you're probably going to see me have to use once or twice here, because this is focus. If you are not able to connect, do any damage, much like how I had to use guard that other turn, this one is pretty interesting, because instead of giving you a defensive buff on the next turn, if you're not too afraid of the enemy's attack, then you can actually work on getting your attack higher and getting accuracy higher on the next couple turns as well, by getting a +2 attack and a +2 accuracy die on the next turn.
So what we found a lot in through playtest is players would get into situations where they're just re-rolling, just defending and waiting for a good roll to happen. So we wanted to give them options to get an advantage on the next round, so they don't feel like they're wasting a turn. So that's where all these techs come in, and focus is probably one of the best.
Yes, absolutely. Focus does a great job, especially because you're going to see it in this demo as well. Some enemies not only buff themselves up, but debuff you as well. And there's one called Taunt that will get rid of 2 accuracy from your base stats, and so that extra +2 coming from the focus will kind of negate that, while also giving you some attack to work with.
Yep, Taunt is frustrating because that -2 accuracy will make it to where you don't have enough accuracy to land a single strike. You need at least 1 accuracy, so you'll have to commit some resources, some die, to your accuracy just in order to land a hit.
Yep, and so now we are going on to our next fight here, and this one's a little less hand-holdy than the last. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing 2 4 attack dies, and I'm going to grab one of them, and I guarantee you that enemy is going to take one as well.
Oh yeah, better watch out.
Yeah, so now I'm going to want to defend myself, so I'm going to take this. I don't think that the accuracy is as important as the defense die here, because it's a 5 versus my 2. So I'm going to give myself a +1 here. The enemy took 1 as well, and so you know what? I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, I'm faster, and there's really nothing the enemy can do with no stamina, no speed dice. So I'm going to be faster, and so I'm looking at that react that I unlocked a few turns ago, and it's looking pretty nice right here. So they're definitely
speed's going to become very important.
Exactly. They're definitely going to hit me on this next hit, and I have no stamina. They have no stamina, but I can use my speed to my advantage. The react ability, on connect, so you have to hit with it, and moving first, you are instantly going to grant yourself 3 defense. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and do 1 damage, and you're going to see my 3 up here go up to 6 and block the attack. And the enemy...
Question for...
Go ahead. Yeah, so one of the big things is the enemy, in this case, has already locked into an attack, and so react is great because the enemy normally would be like, oh, well, your defense is greater than my attack, I'm going to taunt you, I'm going to do a debuff to you, but on this one, it's like the enemy thinks that they're going to hit me, and gets kind of surprised, and so wastes a turn by attacking me on my shield.
Yeah, and that's why accuracy is so important, and unlocks these different moves to really manipulate the AI of the enemy to create fun scenarios like that. Question from the chat asking, is there a basic attack or moves that cost 0 accuracy? No. All moves cost 1 accuracy, and the reason for that is Characters already have a base accuracy value, so without any drafting right here, SBS has 2, or Fleet has 2 accuracy, opening up those attacks. So we wanted enemies' buffs and debuffs, their techs, to be more impactful. So if you have 0 accuracy, you technically cannot make a move. So you'll have to move dice from somewhere in order to progress the round.
Right, and so the 0 accuracy really wouldn't happen unless that enemy taunted me. And that inflict -2 accuracy on the opponent on the next turn can be pretty rough and would force me to grab one of these dice and work around it, right? So that's pretty cool here. Now, I'm looking at this draft, and I see a 3 attack and a 6 defense, and I like 6s, and I like the ability to take away any chance for my enemy to attack or to defend one of my attacks. It's less so about me wanting to do more or wanting to defend against them, and more so making them not have a defense die. So I'm going to take this 6.
Yeah, if they take that defense, that means that you have to have that much attack to get over it. So it makes a lot of sense to pick it up.
Yeah, and now, so they grab that 3 attack, and then that doesn't really do much good with my 6 defense die. So I'm going to grab a 3 attack of my own, and they're going to be basically forced to pick either a speed die, which will tie me, or a accuracy die, which I'm not too worried about their accuracy at this time because they're not going to connect with me. Like, yeah, they'll be able to taunt me, which will be kind of unfortunate for next turn, but it's not going to be the end of the world here. So I'm going to grab this accuracy, and this will give me the ability to even use the focus if I want to, which could be good since they're going to taunt me, but I want to do some damage and get the kill here.
Yeah, might have actually made sense for you to pick up the speed die, and the reason being is the enemy could have moved their accuracy die into the speed slot and attacked first, but they didn't have the attack anyways. But that's a way that speed could be advantageous, is if they're on their last heart, you can defeat the enemy before they get a chance to swing at you.
Right, exactly. And so now we've got a new attack once again. We unlock them one at a time here in the demo. This one's called Stun. It does 1 damage just like the other attacks, but instead of, giving yourself a boost, you actually get to mess with the enemy a little bit here. You get to instantly discard one of the opponent's dice. And not only do you get to discard the die, but you get to take that die from them and put it towards your stack next turn, like automatically. It's a pretty nice one. So I get 3 more coins, and then I'm going to get this Gem of the Wind. This one is going to discard all opponents' dice, or like 1 dice. And gems we haven't really gone into. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Matt?
Yeah, so gems are things that attach to your weapons. You only have 1 attached at a time. They have durability, so they're going to slowly tick away each time they're used. Some gems have passive effects, such as the Wind Gem, where if the opponent gets a 1 die, it's just going to instantly discard that. But others have active or interactive abilities, such as the Frost Gem. Frost Gem allows you to lock the draft as is. So what you can do is draft 2 of the die, freeze it, and then not allow your opponent to pick up a really good die, and it would just stop the draft right there. So the Frost Gem wouldn't lose durability unless you actually used it, clicked on it and made it active. But yeah, no. Gems are really fun. We have that durability, so it forces players to try different strategies. There's some really strong ones that come up later in the game that you will save for a boss fight because they're just so great.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really good gems out there, and the durability, gets you a chance to kind of use them all throughout your runs too. Some of them are kind of nifty, and some of them are really, really strong. So yeah, like you said, there's times where you're gonna want to hold on to them and wait for the opportune moment to attach them.
Something we're really happy with is the size of the bag and how it forces players to think about what they're bringing with them. So, I want this gem, but I don't want to use it. I don't want to equip it right now because I want to save all of its charges for a boss fight later. Well, now that's taking a item slot that you could use. So there's going to be a lot of resource management and planning associated with later dungeons, which I find fun as a strategy player.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're gonna see a little bit more of that. I think we might find one more gem on our little outing right here. But first, we're actually visiting the doctor here. We got damaged earlier by that little rat. So we're gonna use 10 gold that we accumulated from these fights, and we're gonna.
But you think that's a rat? The doctor?
Oh no, the rat.
Oh, the weasel. Gotcha.
Yeah, the weasel, rat, rodent. They all. We were hit by a rodent, but the doctor is an anteater, right?
Yeah, that's a distinguished anteater you're looking at right there.
Yeah, Doctor's really cool. I like this character quite a bit.
Dr. Anteater.
Dr. Anteater.
PhD.
All right, so now we're back at full health.
There is a gem of fire. What the gem of fire does is it turns your what is it? On activation, no, it's a gem of embers, gem of fire, gem of embers. I forget what it is. I'm pretty sure gem of embers. But once you activate it, it turns the highest statted die in the draft to an attack die. So you'll see a green, 6 green, and you can instantly turn that into a fire or attack die.
Yeah, that one's pretty strong because there's gonna be some really defensive enemies in the future, and it's like being able to break through that defense, kind of with like almost a surprise, is pretty nice. There's also one gem, I can't remember the name of it, but it allows you to take the accuracy dice and use them anywhere you want with their full value, and those are pretty cool.
Gem of Thorns, yeah, one of the best. So it turns all accuracy die into stamina die, which means that you can move a 6 green die into attack, and it works as 6, not just 1.
Exactly.
So very strong.
And the stamina dice we're actually going to learn about right now. It's a perfect transition, Matt. It's fantastic.
Boom.
Yeah, so stamina dice are these orange ones. They can be used in any slot, just like we were talking about with the gem gives you the power to give it the accuracy dice. Well, these ones, they'll pop up in drafts, and you can put them anywhere. And so even though there's a 6 on the defense, a lot of the time you're going to want to just grab that bad boy first and slap it right on your attack. Or anywhere else, really. And so here, I have given myself 5 attack, 5 defense, and 5 speed. So I'm doing pretty good on the stats, but I'm not really going to be hitting them anytime soon, unfortunately. So instead of using that on the attack, I think I'm going to move down to my accuracy and use either my focus or my guard, because there's no way I'm hitting him this turn.
Is there no way?
I think I could have moved around some of the dice, right?
Let's see. No, you could have gotten max 7, so no, you would have been stopped.
Aha!
So that was a good move.
I almost thought I was,
Misplay?
Yeah, almost misplayed in the demo. Oh boy. But didn't. So now we have the second turn, and you see right here, there's like a little wind animation around the 1. If I allow him to grab that 1 die, it's going to fall off because of the power of my gem. So what I'm going to aim to get the stamina die first, and then try to...
Hold on. Why the stamina die?
Because I can put it anywhere, Matt.
That's true. But, say you get that stamina die, you put it in your attack. Now he's got 5 defense. He's going to instantly block it. I would go with the 5 defense die.
I don't know.
It's up to you.
I'm going to take the stamina die.
What does chat think SBS should do?
Right,
stamina die, more fun?
I think both will work out in this case.
No doubt. Alright, go what you think's best.
I'm going to take the stamina die. And yeah, they're at 7 defense. I'm going to make sure that they can't get any more defense by grabbing this 3 right here. And I'm going to put it there. That's going to drop off right away. My gem's doing its work. And I don't really think speed matters too much for me here because they're not going to have enough attack.
And attack you.
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this accuracy. And I'm going to put it up here. He can attack first all he wants, but I'm going to use the stun after...
No, you have to connect. So what you could do is move your defense die into attack.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
So I'm going to use a stun, and while I'll be attacking second, I don't think it's really going to matter too much. So yeah, let's use the stun. So I get taunted for -2 on the next turn, and I can discard one of these dice. And so even though he's already attacked, I'm going to make sure that I have some good defense on this next turn.
Something interesting is later in the game, you'll have instant abilities. So the opponent going first there, they might have been able to increase their defense that turn, blocking the attack, or possibly manipulated your dice in some way to stop the attack. So really interesting stuff that you'll see with techs later in the game.
Yes, and I am really happy that I grabbed that defense die, because there's a lot of attack in this draft. I'm going to take the stamina first, and he's definitely going to take a 6 attack, so his attack's up there. I'm going to make sure he can't do anything else to me by taking an attack die of my own, and yeah, this speed die will do nothing for him, since my gem is going to get rid of it as soon as he grabs it, so I'm going to take this accuracy. Now he's using stamina against me, though, so this is a little dangerous.
Fortunately, you got an attack that would stop a move like that.
Yeah, so there's a couple options here. I can move a die and tie the defense, or, since I'm faster, I can use the react move. And I think this is the play here, because if I am set to defense lower than him and I'm attacking first, this react is going to give me instant +3 defense. And
hold up, SBS. There's a third option.
Okay, what's the third option?
Alright, so what other moves do you got?
We could go to stun, actually. Yeah, that's true.
Let's try that.
Yeah, let's go to stun. That one's pretty fun. That actually helped me a lot on the last turn, too. And so, much like the react, I'm leaving myself open on attack defense here. So the enemy is going to want to do an attack. He's not going to debuff me on this turn. So let's go ahead and use the stun, which is pretty brutal in this case.
Yeah, good suggestion from chat. So they recommended you get the stun. So now you can steal it for next turn. So now you have a +6 on your next turn,
And
which is very powerful.
Not only did I steal it for next turn, but I took away that 6 from him right at the last second, so I was able to block his attack.
Mm-hmm. So you'll see it's the tiers of understanding the game. You'll start out just trying to land strikes, and then you'll suddenly realize, oh wow, you could do a lot more with hand dealt to you, which makes the game interesting, and we're really proud of.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety in every fight here, and this one's pretty cut and dry. Simple kill.
Finish him.
Alright, we unlocked another new attack. More of an ability, I guess, than attack, but it's another new option for us on our accuracy. It's called Snack. And so, you know how we had to spend money or eat a peach to get stamina in the past? Well, Fleet has the ability to eat a snack if her stamina is 4 or lower to give her +2. And it's actually very, very strong. If you find yourself against an enemy that really can't do any damage to you, it's almost a good idea just to kind of buff yourself up in this way.
Yeah, we actually had to nerf Snack from its original design. It just would give you 2 infinitely. And
Yeah,
what we found was if you're pretty good at the game, you could just fight a weasel and then take your stamina from 0 to 10 every fight.
Yeah, back then I definitely abused the heck out of it. But yeah, so we are moving now on to the next thing. We have our first journal entry, and you can go over the journal entries if you'd like, Matt.
Yeah, so all these are written by Ian as well. Follows the daring reporter's scoop of Jules Vale as she reports on the town. A nice little fun, I mean, it's a story game, so we really wanted to focus on the world and what you're trying to impact and save. So yeah, this is Scoop reporting about Jules Vale and Badrico and how they're roughing up things for the people. And so you're seeing who you're protecting and what you're fighting for through these journals. Later in the game, it's going to give you insight into what's going on in the greater story, who these mysterious heroes were of past Jules Vale, who these heroes are today that are arriving at Jules Vale. So it's a lot of fun to get a new perspective of the world through the eyes of Scoop. But yeah, there's also an achievement for getting all of the journal entries as you play through. So they're tough collectibles to get because they're scurry away into all the nooks and crannies of each level. So you'll be a little annoyed that you've got to go fight that badger to get another journal, but it'll be rewarding because you'll get a little bit of snippet into what's going on. I believe this one, Scoop, is kind of questioning Fleet's intentions. She's being helpful fighting the Badger Co, but at what cost when she leaves ruins in her wake of blowing everything up? But she's still speculating if Fleet is friend or foe.
Yeah, Fleet has a lot of has a good heart. But the execution may not be there all the times. So that's our first little bit of journal. And as you can see here on this page, we actually have our current quest option. You can see that we're looking for blueprints still. Haven't forgotten about that. And you can kind of go through and check out the tutorials. It's a nifty little journal right here on the side. And you can access that at any time using this feather. So I could go straight for the blueprints right here. But I think I'm going to kind of do the thing that I always do when I play games like this, is I like to hit every nook and cranny, so I'm going to go down. And it looks like there is another treasure chest over there. I just have to get through this this weasel first.
The pesky weasel.
So once again, prioritizing that stamina die. And I'm going to take the attack die as well because I feel like it. Yeah, a little bit of a problem here until you realize that speed is not going to help them at all, so they're not going to be able to use the stamina on top of the speed die because of my gem. And now what I can do is I can do the stun or the react and make sure I don't get hit. I'm definitely going to do the stun and steal a die.
Yep, that'll work.
And since this only has 2 health, I am going to make sure that it cannot touch me. Quick little battle, but doesn't really stand a chance because Fleet is very stacked right now.
Yeah, we're taking our time to explain things, but you can get through the demo pretty quick. Like I said, the game is anywhere from 6 to 12 hours, depending on your proficiency at things. You'll see SBS is gaining items here. One we might want to use. We can use the grindstone to restore the durability of our wind gem.
Yeah, so you're going to look over here and you see the durability is actually shown on the left with this bar. And it's getting really close to breaking, so I'm going to definitely use this item and just refresh it. Alright, final chest before we go into the big bad guy.
Let's see, no attack.
No attack, but I have the speed for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have the accuracy for sure, and the defense. And you know, I could reroll, but all 3 of these will actually give me what I need on the attack by just giving +1s.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Question in the chat, is this roguelike? Yes and no. So the story mode of Dungeons is roguelike-esque in the sense that drops are going to be random, there's going to be some random elements, but the levels are designed, it's a linear path, so not a roguelike there. However, challenge mode, another mode in the game, is completely roguelike, completely generated dungeons with rooms and different enemies. So you'll try to get a top score playing that, and you'll get more points for saving your gold instead of spending it to make yourself stronger. You'll get points for taking on more enemies. You'll get points for exploring more rooms. and you also get points for taking less time. So there's a lot of ways to get a better score in the roguelike version of the game.
Yes. And so, as we get here to our final boss, I picked up the first actual item that is going to be hanging out next to the arrow. You see that there's a little bit of divide here between the arrow with this white border and then this slightly darker gray border on the right side. The golden watch and the cheese will be one-use items, whereas this goggles of focus is a little bit different. It grants 2 attack die and 2 accuracy die at the start of the battle, and so that's going to be a recurring thing that I'm just going to be able to use throughout the run. And that's something that you kind of will be able to have between different runs in story mode, which is the roguelite elements that Matt was just talking about.
Yeah, consumables versus equipables. So yeah, SBS has equipped the goggles of focus, so they're going to be applied passively throughout fights, and then the consumables take up an item slot and will need to be consumed to use.
All right, what do you say we get these blueprints?
Let's do it.
All right, and as you can see, the goggles flash there, and there are my bonus dice for starting the game. This guy,
you a good jump to every fight, which is really convenient.
Yes. And then this guy is the miner. He's got focus, steal, guard, strike, but he's also got 3 health, so we just kind of want to be on the lookout there. I could use this cheese if I want to, but I also kind of want to hold on to it for when I go back to town later and sell it, right? But for the purposes of the demo and showing awesome stuff, I'm going to use it now. But maybe you don't want to use it. Like, if you feel you can get through the fight and move on to the town, you can sell some of this stuff. So I'm going to use that. Now I have 4 stamina against his 2. And my first option is I'm going to take this 6 attack die.
Very powerful stamina die.
Very powerful stamina die, yes. It's the same strength as the defense, so it didn't really do anything different, but that miner could have definitely used that to do something nefarious that I wouldn't have wanted, right? Mm-hmm. And so I am going to go ahead and move over my attack here. I don't think I need to move over the speed.
No,
yeah,
I'm
going to
good.
move my attack down to get to a
Should
stun.
be enough.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and steal one of these defense dice from him. And it's a good thing we did, because there's going to be some attack this turn.
So there's 2 hearts until the demo ends. If anyone has any questions, we'll do a Q&A after the play session. So get your questions in now. I see one asking about Slay the Spire Ascension-like progression. No, there's not going to be Ascension-like in the sense of like, how is it, unlocking tiers or choosing a path and what you can do. But there will be passive upgrades. So the blacksmith, which is one of the buildings in town, allow you to upgrade stats, so you can add +1 attack to fleet or plus speed. And there's going to be upgrades in those shops as well. So for instance, if you upgrade the inn, you will gain more stamina each time you stay there.
Now, there's a few things I can do here. Obviously, I could do the stun again. I could do the react to show off kind of the +3 defense instantly. But I'm also just going to show off a little bit more of the stamina, which is just going to make sure I take no damage here. And yeah, like I said, I could do the stun or the react, but I think I'm just going to do a normal strike just for the purposes of just showing some variety.
Nice. We've actually already nerfed stun, so when you steal a die from an opponent, instead of giving the full value, it's going to give you just a +2 of that stat. So for instance, if SBS would have stolen the attack die there, on this turn it would be a +2. Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff you can have in this, and now my speed is going to be faster no matter what, and now I'm going to show off that react. I could do another stamina if I wanted to, but react here is going to give me +3 defense instantly, and I mean, he's going to die from this anyway, but just to be safe, let's go ahead and get these blueprints.
Alright.
Alright, and this is our final ability we just unlocked. We won't be able to use it in this demo, unfortunately, but you'll actually see it in our trailer that we tweeted out. It's got some really cool VFX. It's called Snipe. It grants 2/3 stamina dice on your next turn if you connect with it, and it's something that you need to get 7 accuracy and still have the ability to actually connect with your attack. So it's kind of hard. Like at the end there, I had a lot of high number dice, but getting a lot of them to the point where you can max out your accuracy and then still be fast enough and strong enough to do damage to your opponent is pretty tough. And this is a ringer of an attack. If you're able to land that, you get a very big reward on the next turn.
Yes, each protagonist has a ultimate attack, which is their accuracy 7 attack, and they have the steamroll potential, right? So if you land that snipe, now you're going to get 6 accuracy, which is going to allow you to even a cooler move next time, which is going to lead into your 3rd damage that you need to deal. Bosses have more health than typical enemies, so you'll need to have that steamroll potential when you're going against them.
All right. We have attained our blueprints, and we have our victory screen here showing how many enemies we defeated, how many floors we explored, and our time spent. Gold collected and loot acquired. Like I said, if I didn't want to use that cheese, I could have that here in the end screen as well.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, cool.
So that is the end of the demo. Are there any other questions from chat? Because we are going to wrap it up here pretty soon. We actually went a little bit longer than I expected with that demo playthrough.
Yeah, I collected a couple questions. There's a question about will there be workshop support? Not at launch. However, if the game does really well and the community really asks for it, we definitely would explore that. It worked out really well for Rivals of Aether. Workshop's something we're very proud of and would love to bring it to different titles. So yeah, let us know on our forums and in the reviews of the game. If you want workshop support and you think you'd love to create your own levels and do your own characters, we'd love to hear it. Definitely. Another question asking if there's going to be harder and harder roguelike modes, or is there only a single difficulty? So for the challenge mode, yes. As you progress, it's going to get harder as you play. So the longer you play, the more challenging the game will get. We have explored the idea of an infinite mode where the game never stops. It would just always generate more and more. If the game does well, we'd love to add this mode as well. But for now, challenge mode does have an end, and really like the crux of it is your score. So the more enemies you defeat, the more efficient you are at defeating them, the higher your score will be. And that's really the endless mode, if you will, to see if you can get the best scenario in challenge mode and capitalize on it to get a top score.
Yeah, there is a difficulty difference in the story mode as well, right? So you can set it to be normal, easy, hard. I don't know if there's beyond hard, but I know there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's insanity. Insanity is going to be pretty tough. We actually just added it and have not really play tested. So we figured if we're can get through hard mode, and then I bet there's someone out there that can beat it on insanity. So it is a challenge to you, the community, because it will be a very untested difficulty. So
yeah, it's
we'll see if you can beat it.
Resource management and a little bit of luck on your side, maybe.
Min-maxing, being very efficient, and then yes, there's going to be an achievement in the game associated with insanity mode as well. So only for the bravest we be able to platinum the game.
Oh boy. Well, that is the demo. We will be back here on Wednesday. Is it the same time on Wednesday, Matt?
Maybe.
Oh. Put
It
you on
could
the
be.
spot there, huh?
Probably. Be checking our social, be checking Twitter. Expect the same time on Wednesday, but it might be that an hour or two off based off of the Next Fest and their schedule, and also our developers. And then yes, thank you all for joining us. Great questions. It was really great talking with everyone. Very excited for Dungeons and can't wait for you all to get your hands on it.
Yeah, it's coming up quick, February 28th. If you type in wishlist on !wishlist on the chat and Twitch, you can actually get brought right over to our Steam page. Play the demo yourself, get the wishlist going, and then before you know it, you'll be playing it. But until then, look forward to our Wednesday stream with, I believe it's going to be George and you, right?
Yeah, it could be Dan. Dan's pretty busy right now, but Dan might be in that stream. But if not, you'll get to see me again. And come with questions, because I have loose lips. I will tell you things I probably shouldn't about the game, but be happy to indulge.
And you'll definitely be seeing some stuff that you didn't see today, stuff that you can't play yet. Either going to be a boss fight for Fleet, or maybe the first level for Slade. So we haven't quite decided on that. Yeah, maybe both. Who knows? If the stream's going pretty well, lots of questions. So we'll see you then. Until then, thank you for playing, everyone, and have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.